I'd upgrade on the last page.
All right, we'll go ahead and call this work session to order. Commissioner Wilkinson will not be able to join us tonight for a very good reason. His second son, Nolan, was born this morning. So congratulations.
Happy birthday.
to Commissioner
His first birthday.
Happy birthday, Nolan Wilkinson.
Happy day of birth.
Yes, happy 0th birthday. All right, so for our work session today, we have quite a few items. First, we have employee recognitions. First, for recognition of retiring employee John Alexander, Resolution 24-1652. Mr. Granum.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. And I don't want to steal all the thunder for the regular session, but I'll just take a head nod from the Commissioners President if we really want to do this in regular session. Seeing no objection.
No voting objections.
We are ready for an official dog and pony at regular session, Mayor.
Excellent, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And any other employee recognitions? I think we have from the police department.
We were gonna have one for Deputy Public Works Director Leslie Johnson, but she's ill tonight.
Oh, that's
So we'll
right.
defer that to next work session.
Okay, so item deferred. Next item of business, we have a certificate of appreciation for the Red Bank Service Center. Mr. Granum, calling you right back up again.
Ms. Stowe, would you please join me out here at the podium? I'll do the honors and all. That's good. Yes. Yeah, come on over there. Thank you. Thank you, Joyce, Ms. Stowe, and thank you, Mayor. After opening its doors in January of 1964, the Red Bank Service Center celebrates 60 years of dedicated service, a milestone marked by passion, commitment, and the indomitable spirit of its founder, Kenneth Combs. And the Combs legacy continues at the Red Bank Service Center with business in the capable hands of Kenneth's wife, Joyce, who's with us here this evening, and also their son, Alan, who continues the tradition of quality service and community connection that Kenneth started 6 decades ago. With that introduction, come on over here, Mayor, and I will read the citation and you can present it. Certificate of appreciation presented to Red Bank Service Center. The city's appreciation is extended to you for your 60 years in business in the city of Red Bank. Your business has contributed greatly to the overall economic growth and livability of our city. We appreciate your decision to locate your business in Red Bank and wish you nothing but continued growth and prosperity. Presented the 6th day of February 2024, signed Martin Granum, City Manager, Assistant City Recorder Summer Sheldon, and Mayor Holly Berry.
We'll hide it behind us.
Yay.
Joyce, is there anything you'd like to say? Is there anything you'd like to say?
Oh, I appreciate being invited here. Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce.
All right. Our next item of business is a request to rezone 221 Sweetland Drive, ordinance number 24-1254, and I'd like to welcome our city planner, Mr. Michael Van.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
So this is a request to rezone 221 Sweetland from R1 to R3. And this application was actually made, I believe, 3 years ago. It was the same site plan and it was denied for reasons that I don't know because I wasn't present. And I believe it was a different commission as well. But it came to the Plan Commission in November and it was recommended denial. And that was mainly because of reasons that individual planning commissioners came up with, which was concern about the slope of the site, concern about the road width, which is Sweetland, and myself and Leslie and Ashley from Set D made a recommendation to approve it because the road width is not really a concern for the rezoning, and then it matches similar types of development in the neighborhood, such as the apartments about a quarter mile up the road, and also the adjacent parcel, which is an apartment complex currently. And then we have ordinances in place to address steep slopes and stormwater. So we believe that it's appropriate for recommendation to rezone.
Excellent, thank you very much. Any questions regarding the rezoning?
I was just gonna bring up, I think, I spoke with you, Mr. Pham, yesterday, but that there were, like the traffic concerns, but, a traffic study was done for that same area by Rise Partners. And it did not indicate a need for a signal at a traffic signal. It will be a hawk crosswalk signal, that will be at Ridgeway. Is it Ridgeway? Ridgewood. And this is only going to be, I think, around 10 units. Is that correct?
They submitted a site plan that suggested 10 units.
Okay.
There's some other issues with the site plan that Ashley has raised and I myself have raised. But a site plan is not necessary for a rezoning at this point. So I think further down the line, we might address, density and more design review type suggestions. And just so it's clear, the traffic study was done regarding the development of former Save-A-Lot site
That's right.
and had nothing to do with this current development. So we can't really say, the traffic impact was regarding this. So
It was, however, one block downhill from it and
Mhm.
involving over 100 units.
200.
Over 200 units, so
yeah,
I think 10 more units, one block up the road. If that didn't trigger an issue,
Yeah.
probably would be
and that's mainly the
unlikely.
reason why I brought up that traffic study is just because the difference is pretty significant and no traffic signal was warranted.
Right. So I did not know that this had been previously applied for. That's interesting. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Any other questions regarding the rezoning at Sweetland Drive?
Just for clarity, Set D recommended it.
Mhm.
The planning commission recommended against it. But you and our deputy public works director are recommending it in
Yeah.
line with our Set D plan.
Yes.
Okay.
And Ashley did make a recommendation to, because you have to apply for a special exceptions permit to do multifamily in the R3 zone.
Okay.
And she recommended require that they apply for that within a year of this rezoning, so that it's not just sitting there rezoned for no reason.
Otherwise, it would revert to the R1 zoning.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that was gonna be my thing. How long is this before, we get shovels in the dirt?
I'm not sure. This
I mean,
was-
it was, before they lose their,
Oh, Ashley recommended a year.
okay,
Yeah. So,
okay.
Mr. Stolz,
Not written,
the,
not written, so it doesn't exist.
the 1 year,
Yeah, not written,
time limit.
So it doesn't exist.
So we would have to add that as an
If
amendment.
that's what the decision is.
Well, it only because I don't like people coming in and saying, hey, we got this rezoned, then I'm gonna sit on it for 10 years and then resell it. So,
Mhm.
and they've taken advantage of us thinking that something's gonna happen. It is also contiguous to R3 there, right?
Mhm.
So, all right.
Yeah, it shares a property line with a even larger apartment complex than is being proposed
yeah.
at this site.
Well, and this is potentially has been proposed as townhomes, correct? Not apartments.
I may have misspoken the other day when we spoke. I don't think it's officially been suggested as townhomes.
Either.
It's-
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Just multifamily.
Multifamily.
Okay.
Of some
Thank you.
variety to be determined.
Okay.
I don't think he's planning on, he hasn't mentioned anything about subdividing it, so I imagine it might be something like apartments.
Okay.
That's a pretty good scenario for a higher density development in Red Bank, given its proximity both to Dayton Boulevard, its walkability, and the Save-A-Lot plan
Mhm.
that's already been approved just down the street from it. So that would give these potential residents access to those businesses as well. I also recall a sidewalk project in partnership with Rise Partners along Sweetland Drive that would well serve these residents if both developments were to occur.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions?
I just, I'd like to see that, as our city attorney says in writing, and at least they have plans or something like that within a year, but, groundbreaking within 18 months. I know a year is not very long when you start getting into planning and all that such, but I'd like to see that to where they're not sitting over there just getting our zoning changed without doing the project.
Would
Does
be,
that sound fair to you, Michael?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, Ashley recommended that, and Leslie and I both.
okay.
It's a good idea.
and it's, as long as they're actively like doing something, applying for a permit or applying for the special, exception, they have, that they're still within that. I guess, does the time get extended? Is it 12 months of no action at all?
Oh,
Is that typically how it is, Mr. Stoltz?
This is a bit of a different approach than I had considered
Okay,
before, and I just need to hear more.
okay,
I don't think there's a typical, has to be a good reason for it.
okay.
maybe let me clarify. What Ashley had recommended is that within a year, they apply for the special exceptions permit.
Oh, I
not say
see.
That they break ground.
Okay,
Okay.
That was her recommendation. I don't know if anyone's made a request to break ground within a certain amount of time.
well, could that be something that when they have to come back and apply for the special exception, that we could
Imagine
add on an
special
additional
exception
time frame?
could have its own expiration. Is that right,
Why,
Mr.
why
Stoltz?
are we doing this? What's the rationale?
So let's use the Save a Lot of as an example that Rise Partner can come in there, get all of the zoning changed, have everything done, and then just delay the project indefinitely and then resell it with the new zoning already intact and all of this other such. In other words, it makes it imperative. I mean, for the zoning change, if you want to change the zoning to do the project, then do the project, but don't just get the zoning changed for some future project that's coming down the
To
road.
inflate the value of the land.
You're right. That's my concern.
Mhm.
Mayor, may I suggest that we present at second reading a revised an amendment that would really be actionable in an appropriate way, whether it's the special exceptions or some milestone that we can all agree is what they have to achieve within the next year.
To go ahead and pass the ordinance as written today with the understanding that at the second and final reading, we'll,
Or pass it with the amendment and then we can amend it further at the second reading.
we'd
if
have
we
to
need
have an amendment ready now
Yeah.
to include.
Which could be what Ashley initially recommended to the planning commission.
Do we have the formal language for that amendment?
I
On
don't know if
hand?
the year is written into the ordinance.
I know that it's not written into the ordinance, so.
I don't think we
I
can
really
come up
don't
with
know.
a
I
technical
really wanna
modification
talk
tonight.
actually.
I might suggest we table it.
Is there some great big rush about?
This is a great development for our city, and they're already gonna have to come back and apply for another special exceptions permit. I'd hate to further delay the project more than necessary. If the whole commission wants to table it, I'm not opposed, but I feel like going forward with the ordinance before us and then making the amendment on the second reading would be more expedient.
Well, and to
Something.
further clarify for the city attorney, is there any teeth into doing that? I mean, that what we're asking to do. In other words, is it enforceable and revocable? I mean, I don't want to just spin our wheels if we're spinning our wheels. I want to make sure that what we're doing makes sense to you too, sir.
With very much respect to the mayor, I would like some time to delve into it. It's necessary for there to be a rationale for imposing conditions such as that beyond Ashley recommended it.
So you prefer to table it? Your
I would
recommendation would be to
please.
table it? Okay.
Instead of voting on it tonight and then adding an amendment at the
I would
next
like us
reading.
To have clarity on what we're talking about
Okay.
and rationale. No,
Are we-
you can have a public hearing.
Okay.
But it makes it, in the same sense, if this is first reading, it makes sense to have the public hearing and the first reading at the same time. So somebody retract, just postpone the public hearing. Please.
Okay, is all the rest of the commissioners okay with that course of action?
Yeah, I mean, I look forward to the project, but I just also, I've seen this happen before. You know, they get it rezoned and then do nothing, you know?
Well,
And I don't know if that's a logical fear or not, Michael. You probably have a lot more experience than that than this. I mean, I'm just a neighbor.
I mean, I don't know historically in Red Bank if that's, a pattern, but just based on the applicant, just to tell, he owns that property and he rents it out right now. He's also, I believe he owns the gas station on Bridgewood and Dayton right there. And just my opinion is that he's looking to move this forward. He already has a contractor who drew up the plan that was submitted, so. But again, I don't know exactly his intentions or exactly what he's bound to in terms of selling it or waiting, I don't know.
You know, I don't want to impose something that's overdue or undue or burden or whatever, but that's just my concern. So
I
I'm
know,
sorry.
I mean, I know I've seen that language before in other rezoning requests.
expiration dates.
That's right. But I mean, I'm looking at the recommendation from Ashley, from the document that, the official memo that she sent to the planning commission. I mean, it doesn't include necessarily a explanation of why she's recommending that. So did she say anything in the planning commission meeting that you recall?
About the 12 months.
Yes, as to her reasoning behind that.
Kind of what we've all just mentioned is that
Okay.
she doesn't want it to sit there and then you have the special exceptions permit and just be fallow.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, if Mr. Stoltz is more comfortable with us waiting, I'm fine with that.
And is that to amend the ordinance regarding breaking ground on the project?
I think he's asking, or he's advising us to postpone the first vote
Yeah, I mean.
until our
we're-
next
we're-
meeting, perhaps.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna say it, and I'll be happy whatever the staff brings up here to make sure that it moves the project forward and not
Mhm.
just what I say. I'm not like, if they gotta put a shovel in the ground, I'm not saying that, but whatever makes you guys comfortable and the exception, but I want it written in here before we vote on it.
They submitted, I'm sorry, Mr. Stoltz, I heard you. They submitted a site plan, right? Or like a very rough draft site plan. It is the same site plan that they submitted in November of 2020. Is that correct? So, and it had 3 different buildings. And I think there were 4 units in one, 3 units in another, and 3 units in the front building. So I think what you said, there were some concerns maybe about the layout of the site plan. And so that might have to be looked at, but that is specified on that.
And so I harken back to one of the things you said, you've seen similar language before. And I believe that where we have seen similar language, we had a definite draft or proposed site plan and concept that was being preliminarily approved, subject to compliance with all the ordinances, and steep slopes have been mentioned in the site, in the
Mhm.
planning and whatnot. But this bare ordinance here has nothing to do but except just rezoning it.
That's
period.
right.
And there's nothing illegal at all about rezoning a piece of property, even prospectively. And so if conditions are to be approved like that, it's better to tie them to a concept and a plan rather than just say submit a special use permit.
Hmm.
And so I need clarification from Ashley
Okay.
so that we can do the best we can about expressing the language correctly.
Right. So the site plan is very preliminary and is likely to change in reference to the steep slopes ordinance.
I don't know about necessarily the steep slope ordinance, but one of the concerns that applicants often have is that they're gonna be spending money on a project that may never get rezoned, and so what did they just spend all the money for?
Mhm.
So I think that's been Mr. Patel's hesitance in terms of putting forward a site plan that's developed, has been, has a grading plan, has design changes, so.
Totally understandable since he's already been denied a rezoning once.
Yeah.
All right, so if we're still all in accordance to table that, is there any other discussion or questions regarding the rezoning?
I assume we'll have to table it formally in the regular
regular
meeting. Okay.
And while we're on the topic,
And
since we'll be extending the time for the public hearing so that we do not have to re-advertise the public hearing, it would be very helpful if you could Mayor could make a specific announcement that the public hearing scheduled for tonight is hereby being rescheduled for
the next
the
meeting.
next meeting at the date.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you, Mr. Stolz. All right, if there is nothing else, then we'll move on to the next item of business. Thank you very much, Mr. Pham. I have a note here that we want to reorganize the agenda to handle the donation of bike repair stations next. Is that correct, Ms. Perry? Prior to the budget amendments? Okay. So if that's all right with everyone, then we'll move on to donation of bike repair stations from White Oak Bicycle Co-op, Resolution 24-1657, and Mr. Gravy, take it away.
Thank you, Mayor and Commission. So I'm standing here today to present a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, accepting a proposed donation of 2 trailhead workstations and 2 mounting posts from White Oak Bicycle Co-op, who is a very well-known nonprofit based here in beautiful Red Bank, Tennessee. They have Blake Pierce here, who's going to come up in just a second to explain a little bit more about the grant that they received to get these 2 bike workstations that they are donating to City of Red Bank very graciously. And so we've worked with them and Public Works to identify the 2 locations that we'd like to put these in at, which would be over at the trailhead of the White Oak Connector Trail, since lots of bikers will be coming to and from the Connector Trail to Stringers Ridge, and also being kind of the start of the Bicycle Boulevard, and then ending over at the kids corner near the playground and bathrooms, another very biked area where people are going to be able to tune up their bike with some simple tools that are attached to the trailhead unit. And it is also what would be the end of the Bicycle Boulevard. So we see it fitting that putting them there at the beginning and the end, and also being very biked areas, would be a great service to the citizens of Red Bank and the biking community. And in the future, if White Oak Bicycle Co-op decides to donate more, that we can put them in between in that area. And so I would like to bring up Blake Pierce to talk a little bit more from White Oak Bicycle Co-op.
Thank you all for having me here. Last year, we were one of 9 organizations across the state of Tennessee to receive funding from the Jeff Ross Cycling Foundation that promotes cycling across the state. If you've ever driven by or been at the stop sign, you saw the little oval on the back of the license plate that says 3 feet's the law.
Mhm.
That's the Jeff Ross Foundation. Those are the funds that are coming here. I did a little napkin math back there and had calculated that last year we gave 119 bicycles away here at Red Bank. That's a pretty sizable percentage of our giveaway. And what we want to do is make sure that users, as we have increased users in this area with more, there are schools, more people recreating, that they have the opportunity to continue to do that. And one of the ways to do that is to have access to repair services. Unfortunately, we can't be opening everywhere. And so what we look forward to doing is this May at the Jubilee, as we give away, 50 bicycles to children in the community, to be able to turn to parents and say, you see right down that street, when you get a flat tire or whenever something messes up, you can just bring it right here at any point in time for them to kind of make that repair. And continuing on in White Oak Park in order to support our users on that end. So thank you all for the consideration, and be glad to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions regarding the bike repair stations.
Was it specific in the grant, Blake, that you donate tire repair, or was it the grant was awarded and you could?
Our
Right.
grant, we were looking to place these on Bicycle Boulevard at some point, whether that was going to work with, putting one at our shop on Linden Avenue or some local businesses. But ultimately, we decided, that it would be better for the public good to have them in public space so they could be open for all, all available to access.
Thank you.
Thank you for your generous
Yes,
donation.
thank you so much.
We're really excited to have this be a
Yeah.
part of the future Bicycle Boulevard
Yes.
as we continue working towards
It's
that.
the very start of bicycle.
Yes,
Boulevard,
That's right.
actually.
You beat T-Dot.
That's right.
Thank you.
Keep doing that.
Thank you, Mr. Pierce.
Do you have any other questions on what the city is doing with these?
Will
Will you be able to get them installed right away?
oh yeah, timeline.
Timeline will be working with Public Works. Like I said, we've identified the 2 locations. We may have to pour a small slab foundation for the one over at the White Oak Connector Trail. So it depends on weather for that one,
Okay.
but it should be up fairly quickly once, if the commission decides to go through with this. And they also, we signed with the White Oak Bike Co-op, the proposed donation and gift, sorry, I don't know what was the exact wording, the other thing that they're signing, say that they donated to us,
Yeah, it's an unconditional gift.
an unconditional gift.
Yeah, that's the best way to say it. No strings attached. We'll gratefully accept any help that we can get. But once it's donated, you all decide what happens.
Which I
Stays
since
or goes, gets fixed, or somebody runs over it. All
Okay.
this, it's just,
So
Great.
once you guys pass and sign this commission, and we get the unconditional donation agreement signed between White Oak Bicycle Co-op and the city, then we'll go ahead and be able to get them up. I don't want to make promises, but it would be very easy to have them in before the end of the month.
Ooh, that would be very exciting. Since Deputy Director Johnson's not here, I'll have to share her paraphrase of the last edition, which is the no take backsies clause. All right, if there's no more questions regarding the donation, thank you, Mr. Gravy.
Thank you.
Then we'll move on to our next item of business. Fiscal year 2024 budget amendments, ordinance number 24-1255. Mr. Alexander,
Good evening.
good evening.
Okay, these are new events that we incurred this since July 1st. Okay, and we got 2 new grants, the HIDA and the THSO. Those are fully funded. We're also going to use a fund balance of $459,935. And that, if you go a little bit lower, you're going to see some. These are, kind of, they're actually some good expenditures that go out of the budget. And we've got a fire engine replacement. I mean, just the engine. Okay, that should extend the life of the fire truck. And it was the cheapest thing we could do to get that thing back. And then we also have a donation for the Trust for Public Land, which they're doing work that we're going to benefit from. And then we also have a purchase of 4825 Dayton Boulevard. So you spent money,
Hickson
but
property.
we incurred an equal asset.
Mhm.
So we didn't lose. And then the next one is State Street Aid Fund. Similar thing. We bought a street sweep, $280,000, and we get an asset of equal value.
Okay.
We do have one correction. The expenditure, total expenditures should be 5, should equal the revenue. It had 833, 553. So I don't have that, yeah. Okay. Any questions?
No? All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Alexander. All right. Next, we have award contract to remove the underground storage tank at the Public Works facility. Resolution 24-1653. Director Tate.
thank you, Mayor. Well, everybody knows we have a very old facility, and it has some very old infrastructure, and one of those is being an underground storage tank for a former fuel plant we used to run. And Justin Hedrick solicited RFPs for removing that, and Southern Environmental Services returned the lowest bid. And from my findings, they appear to be fully qualified to do this job. They actually install fuel tanks at gas stations, so they seem equally capable of removing them. But that's to remove the storage tank at the Public Works facility, and this will also help in preparation for a new Public Works facility. It has to be done one way or the other. And this was not something that we planned for in the budget, but as part of our facilities upgrades using ARPA funds.
So it was part of the ARPA expenditures plan. How we had facilities improvements.
Yes.
Not specifically, but it falls
Generally.
under the, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, any questions regarding the tank removal? Okay, I think the next item is yours. So we have award contract for replacing fence at Reading Road Tennis Courts to Bravo Fence Company, resolution 24-1654.
And again, this is an RFP that Mr. Hedrick posted back in December, and Bravo Fence Company came in and as the lowest bidder for $36,820. And it was remarkable the difference in prices of some of these, but I contacted them, and they have agreed that they can replace that fence with black vinyl coated chain link fence all around for $36,820.
So we get even better view of the pickleball players from outside.
Exactly.
Exciting. Any questions regarding the fence replacement?
How long has that fence been in place? Do you know?
40 years.
And if I may, I have gotten citizen comments that there are parts of it that are quite worn and jagged, that they don't feel comfortable reaching out to grab balls.
That's true. They roll under.
Okay,
All right.
it's time.
If there are
Thank
no
you.
more questions on the fence, then next we have award contract for resurfacing of the tennis courts at Reading Road to Advanced Athletic Surfaces, resolution 24-1655.
And again, this was a part of our budgeted process to upgrade the tennis courts. We found it cheaper. We had found originally a company that would do it all for one price, but we found it was cheaper to break it into sections, and Advanced Athletic Services were the lowest bidders for replacing tennis court surfaces, striping, new posts, removable posts, new nets. That along with the fencing will give that complex a new facelift.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions regarding the tennis court resurfacing?
Will that include any new striping for pickleball courts? I think we had talked about that at some
After-
point in time.
After we get this part of it done, we didn't include it in the striping because we can overlay pickleball courts over the tennis courts
Okay,
much cheaper than, we included it into a larger resurfacing project.
okay.
And we can do that. I think I told the mayor in an email that I've been able to do that twice for less than $1,000.
Oh, wow.
So once we get all this, the tennis courts resurfaced and the fencing up, then we'll look at doing that. That'll be something that we need to take care of.
Okay.
Okay, this is
Thank
just the
you.
tennis courts.
The tennis courts.
The 3 tennis courts off to the side.
Right.
All right. If there's no more questions on the resurfacing, then next we have award contract to replace the HVAC systems in the Red Bank Boxing Club to Bailey Heating and Air, resolution 24-1656.
And again, Mr. Hedrick was instrumental in this, putting out an RFP, and Bailey Heat and Air came in at the cheapest price. There's 2 heat and air units in that building, and they have not worked in years. They may cool a little bit and they blow air, but they don't make heat. He was over there when the temperature was down, in the below the teens. He went over there one day and he said the temperature inside was like 28 degrees, and the heaters were wide open running, but they're old, all electric heat. They're not heat pumps, they're electric heat, and they've been out for probably at least 10 or 15 years. And so they're going to be replaced with new heat pumps. And we'll be able to, and it's important we have heat in there. That place is built on a slab, and there's pipes that run through the concrete. And if that gets too cold, we could have some serious damage to that building.
Even more expensive repairs.
More expensive.
Mhm.
And he was able to get that price down to, $34,000 price tag, which I thought.
This is just the units, no duct work or anything.
It's everything.
All
It's
right.
everything.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the details of everything, but it included some duct work and, actually, they're gonna have to do some modifications outside to, run it into the building. So, but it includes everything needed.
I tell you what, Mr. Hedrick is the star of the show tonight. He's really
He
pulling his
is,
weight.
he is, he certainly is. And that's just a sample of some of the things that he's involved
So this is the things that come to our level, not to mention all the things I'm sure he does that are many hundreds of tasks below $10,000.
in, like replacing bathroom lights at Kids Corner at 2:45 in the afternoon.
Very important. All right, if there's no more questions on the HVAC, then we already did the bike repair stations. And so we are ahead of schedule for citizen comments for items on this work session agenda.
What? We got all the way through it?
We did it. All right.
Well,
Are there any citizen comments for any items on this agenda today? Okay. If there's no comments, then any other business to discuss from the commission?
No, I just thank you for taking care of that building.
That's fine. Yes. Vice Mayor has something for us?
If I can remember what it was.
We got time.
It was something we voted on last meeting, and I was thinking about the timeline for
I
it.
have the agenda.
Okay.
from
I looked
last
at it
meeting.
earlier today, and now I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry.
Okay. Here's the work session agenda from last time.
Vice Mayor, was it the EV charging station?
Yes, it was.
Mr. Tate can give me an update on that.
And yeah, and the parking lot.
Lights?
Actually, starting Monday, I just sent you the email. Was that Monday?
Yes.
I've already got a tomorrow.
That was yesterday.
We'll be over there doing some digging.
Yes, tomorrow, Public Works will be doing prep work
Okay.
and to get ready to lay the cabling and everything underground. But it will be happening quickly. And we're waiting on 2 charging stations to come. But we have the one that's going to be installed
I
there.
got you. That's nice to hear.
That's the dual-headed one.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, and that's all in place. He's already coordinated with the EPB.
Mhm.
We'll be subject to their timeline to some degree, but it should happen very quickly.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Any other business?
I'm good.
Okay. If there's no other business, then we'll go ahead and conclude our work session agenda and have a brief recess, and we'll reconvene at 6 for our regular meeting. Thank you, everyone. 20 minutes.